Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
Hey folks, I believe we're finally in. Sorry about the wait, we had some loading issues, but we're in. We've got Power Friendship versus EWolves. I'm Llama Down Under. I'm going to be joined by the Wonder Cow again, but we've also got Scant on Stats joining us for some late night Dota for him.
Really late night for Scant. Glad to have him here though.
Yeah, I gotta get in that stat practice. We're going to see OD ban out, and this time the Earth Spirit gets banned out. I'm not sure if EWolves had time to watch that last game or not, but that Earth Spirit did a lot of work early.
Yeah, the early rotation from the Earth Spirit set the foundation for what really was a very strong performance for a while. Unfortunately, Dota does come down to being a game of objectives, and Power Friendship just were unable to secure that high ground.
Now, Lone Druid, the first pickup, this is often a hero that gets banned out, made it through. They also do have it on Dire, so, they've already got that Roche Pit advantage, but then they have the Lone Druid who can, if someone was doing Roche, force them out. Also just strong in general, but I think a lot of people take issue with the Savage Roar, even with the nerfs.
EWolves do have the tendency to pick up the Lone Druid, but very rarely ban it. And it more times out of the last 25. So, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 picks or rounds, they get rid of it. But it's not something that they seem to be superbly afraid of. The Earth Spirit, in contrast, does seem to be something they've been particularly afraid of as of their last 5 or 6 games.
Yeah,
10 seconds remaining.
For good reason, right?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I'm right now just thinking about the Brewmaster Venge. Obviously, Venge is always a strong pickup. The Brewmaster is pretty interesting. A lot of people have adopted the strategy that OG did so well with in Majors and before that of, hey, we've got the Brewmaster, you either have to fight us and I'm going to Primal Split, or we get this tower for free. So I wonder if EWolves are going to take that route, or whether they have other plans for the Brewmaster. He's always a potent fighter, and Power Friendship get the Undying.
Yeah, usually when you grab the Brewmaster, it implies that your strategy is going to revolve around a lot of early game brawling and tower pushing. You're not going to want to take the game too late, because Brewmaster does hit a pretty hard wall at a certain point when his Primal Split just isn't that frightening, and the heroes are attacking enough that the mischance is no longer that there. Vengeful Sphere, a hero who scales fairly well for support into the late game, but really hits her stride in the mid game very effectively. So expect to see EWolves pick up a couple push here, I would expect.
Now, we've discussed this to death whenever we cast EWolves, but they have this nasty habit of dominating the early game, and then around the 20-25 minute mark, they just seem to have a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
They're not a team that really seals the deal that well. They coordinate really well in fights and in lane, but in terms of the overall strategy that it takes to turn that and convert it into towers, and specifically into high ground, do not seem to be their forte. Of course, Power Friendship just literally got out of the game where they were pushing up on the high ground at like 20-something minutes, and then were unable to actually secure a set of racks, and they lost. Spoiler alert, I guess. A huge hour-long game here at the WePlay. So EWolves are going to pick up the Death Prophet. Not surprising at all. The Exorcism pushes really effectively. A very mid-game oriented hero that will scale alongside the Brewmaster, allowing them to be extremely aggressive.
Also, nice to deny that from Power Friendship. They do have some good pushing coming out from them. There's also something to be said for they can do a similar fight us under the Exorcism, under the Tombstone, or give us this tower for free, because you can drop those two, drop the Tombstone a little bit behind the tower. And right now, with just the Brewmaster and the Venge, it wasn't looking like EWolves had a great way to get rid of the Tombstone. What do you think you do to respond to the Death Prophet here?
They need to make sure that they're securing a lane victory against Death Prophet. Death Prophet and Invoker and OD, all three very popular mid heroes right now. All three heroes that just require to get off to a good level advantage and get that ultimate early, and, well, Invoker is not so much the ultimate as getting his levels of his components up. But either way, getting those early levels and being able to scale into the mid game really effectively. So Power Friendship will probably want somebody who rotates as a support to come in and be able to apply a lot of pressure onto the mid lane. We might even see them consider dragging somebody like a Tusk or a Bounty Hunter out of the hole.
You say out of the hole, but we've had Bounty Hunter picks today. I'm trying to think if we had a Tusk. It's been a while.
I think we had a Bounty Hunter ban, right?
Yes, we had a Bounty Hunter ban, and I'm pretty
There's
sure...
the Tusk.
Yep, there it is.
Red
As you
team
mentioned.
pick.
Always a good hero. Fallen off a little bit in pick, but still doing very well for himself. And certainly with an Undying, you know, those two used to be a OP lane combo that we'd see last patch.
Yeah, it's not quite as extreme as it was before, just because of obvious nerfs, but it is certainly not something that you want to go into unprepared to fight, right? It's an aggressive combination. The Lone Druid also is going to be able to apply a moderate amount of pressure onto towers himself in the same time frame that Death Prophet and Brewmaster are going to want to be active. So,
10 seconds
for Elite
remaining.
Wolves, delay any Midas attempt on the Lone Druid, get levels on the
5
Death
seconds
Prophet,
remaining.
down towers early, and never let up once you start. Because once they start
Reserve
applying
time.
onto those towers, they're going to have to group
Radiant
relatively
team
frequently,
back.
which means that they are likely to lose out on a fair amount of experience unless they're also getting a significant number of kills. For Power Friendship, it's a lot about dodging these fights, trying to make sure that they're getting ganks instead. Buy the Gyrocopter and the Lone Druid some time in order to get their basic
10
kits up,
seconds
and then
remaining.
start using the Tusk as an initiator to pick team fights rather than
5
allowing Elite
seconds
Wolves to
remaining.
command the pace by tower pushes.
Dire team ban.
So for Elite Wolves ban out the Faceless Void, obvious combinations there with the Gyrocopter, but other than that, you know, the rest of Power Friendship would actually have a lot of trouble taking advantage of the Chronosphere.
Yeah,
10
you can stack up some
seconds
zombies
remaining.
with the Tombstone,
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess.
I don't
5
know how they would
seconds
possibly
remaining.
lane that effectively either. The Gyrocopter could go mid, you could have Lone Druid off to one side, and then you could have
Reserve time.
the Faceless Void off to another side, and have the Undying and Tusk kind of hang out in whatever lane needs at the moment, but that would be a lot of melee
Radiant
heroes.
team
It's
pick.
not something that you would necessarily expect. Phantom Lancer is going
Dire
to
team pick.
give them a lot more late game potential, right?
The
And
Empress?
the amount of push that he provides it fits the synergetically pretty well.
You can also build him to have more, you know, if you're clearly winning the early game, you can build him to peak a little bit earlier, and he can also, if he gets rich, swap out items. Lots of options for the Phantom Lancer, but the Ember Spirit's still viable, and while the lanes would still be a little bit
10
wonky,
seconds
you
remaining.
could make it work with the Ember mid. So I'm a little surprised
5
most teams
seconds
prefer
remaining.
to cover the Ember before they pick up the PL.
I think Elite Wolves are just banking
Reserve
on
time.
the lane silliness that would occur if the Ember got picked up here, right? It wouldn't necessarily feel natural. It would, once again, put a lot of melee heroes into a Death Prophet, which
10
is
seconds remaining.
never ideal. Queen of Pain pickup, I think, fits a little bit better here.
A lot safer, to be sure. More conventional by far. So we got our picks ahead of us, and we'll see exactly how this plays out. I'm really interested to see how the Phantom Lancer does. He's someone who hasn't been as popular, although it's hard to say how much of that is the... So you know how Ember Spirit was going up in popularity, and Ember Spirit's kind of on the decline right now. He's not performing well. He's not being picked as much. Maybe Phantom Lancer becomes more viable as that happens.
That's
And then, you know,
certainly
it
a
cycles.
possibility. But Gyrocopter is still one of the most successful heroes this patch, right? So
Yes.
you don't necessarily want to PL into that. The Juggernaut also doing fairly well. Juggernaut, a hero who can stand up to the PL pretty early on and kind of choke the PL out in some cases. So there are a couple of heroes flying around that still make PL a touch difficult. And also, you don't want to underestimate the impact of just teams have played against the PL so much so recently that they feel like they have him figured out as an opponent a little bit more than some of these other heroes.
And I do feel that as the game progresses, the PL actually outscales the gyro because you're creating illusions faster than 6 flat cannon shots can destroy them all, but that takes quite a while. That's, an item post diffusal, usually, before the gyro has issues.
As a high ground defender, gyro outperforms the PL as well, because PL needs a bit of time to actually get those illusions, whereas gyrocopter can just sit up there with flat cannon, throw down a rocket barrage, throw out a call down, and be sitting fairly pretty. So they both have their strength. They both go into the late game pretty effectively.
Now we're gonna see an engagement up here, and Lone Druid for sure getting that bottom rune. It's looking like Power of Friendship get both EWolves giving it up.
It's not the end of the world. Oh, actually, they might get a snaking in return.
Snaking does have a rocket barrage. Van sucking up a lot of that damage with the Spirit Siphon. Masoku comes in. They're gonna get this first blood. Maybe more. Can they find it here? They already see that they know Mario has picked up Decay, and the Ice Shard does not split them the way Way2 wants. Venge doesn't have another stun, but they have the auto attacks. They don't have a Spirit Lance either. Way2 eats some Fairy Fires, but the autos are there, and this is our first blood.
Yeah, a double kill for first blood onto the Phantom Lancer. Well worth giving up both runes.
Yeah, normally I think it's like if you get both bounties and the other side gets first blood, it's still pretty even. But obviously a double kill on the Phantom Lancer, he can go get the boots immediately. He can go finish up that Ring of Aquila. Yeah, he decides to finish up the Bassi and pick up a wand against the Undying. So this lane, nice for EWO.
Also, neither of the heroes that went down actually got a rune, right? So neither of them could afford a TV to count. They end up wasting a fair amount of travel time. So you've got that to factor into your calculus as well.
Really well done. And now Masoku zoning out Slicks, not giving him the nice time that he wants. He could choose to blink, but of course that means it's on cooldown for a while. Masoku ice shotted, but not in any trouble.
Yeah,
this is an
interesting 2-on-2 lane here. Once again, Death Prophet, a hero that needs to get off to a pretty good start, so applying early pressure onto her is a very good way to try and counter her out. Vengeful Spirit presumably rotated into that mid lane to try and prevent that, but now that the Tusk has come into the lane, the Venge has walked away to contest Rune. I expect her to come back and end up back in this lane if the Tusk does not leave the Death Prophet alone.
I think it's an odd mid matchup. I don't think it's one we have seen a bit on this patch, but it's one where neither side can actually get super aggressive, as you mentioned, also because of the supporting cost. So I think we'll just see farming here. Like, Van can try to go, as you see, use that Spirit Siphon, and Slicks can opt to blink away or just kind of take it and come back ready to blink away. You don't expect...
Masoku hung around for 30 seconds waiting for that rune and opted to not stack anything to jungle. I'm not sure if it's because they don't feel like they can defend the stacks or they don't feel like they can knock the stacks down fast enough with their cast, but deciding to not maximize that farm in that way.
I won't say exactly if Masoku is planning on it next, because it may just be PL not exactly a stack farmer, or nor is the Brew or the Death Prophet with the new changes. So
yeah, Death Prophet can, but she has to kind of blow a chunk of her ult.
It takes ages. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, I guess she can do it with her ult.
Right. She can push down part of the tower with her ult and then rotate into it.
Now, do you think here, Van, Death Prophet, obviously we generally see the maxing of Crypt Swarm and the Spirit Siphon, 1 point in Exorcism, and then finally at that level 10 do you get the Silence. Do you pick up an earlier level here just to deal with this Quap, or?
If the Quap is being aggressive, then yes, you probably need it just to make sure that you are defensively positioned well enough to keep your Death Prophet where she needs to be. But it doesn't look like Slicks is particularly interested in being overly aggressive. So, in this particular case, Death Prophet is commanding her lane pretty effectively. And if that's the case, I don't think that you really need the Silence, right?
I'm not sure with that start that Slicks can be too overly aggressive unless support rotates in. And Death Prophet, as she gains more levels, has more points up in that Spirit Siphon. Very difficult to kill.
And Slicks is taking a decent amount of harass from the crit as well, though not himself going up to drop the Shadow Strike. It's exchanging even-ish, but the Death Prophet on top of the last hits and denies, definitely winning this lane so far.
Now, Eero leaves the top lane to get the rune. We haven't talked too much about this. Obviously, they dodged the... they wanted to set the Panda up for a better lane, I think, so put him against the Brewmaster. Now, put him up against the bear, the lone druid. Name was escaping me. Either way, lone druid's being gone on. He's doing some great jukes. Masoku, again, does not have enough mana, and these roots onto Smash. He may actually be in a lot of trouble from the bear here. MDW unsure if he can stay close enough, but Smash learning that you can't beat RNG.
Yeah, but Root also a true random ability in this game, so you can't necessarily manipulate it, you can't predict it, but when you get two like that, save your life, you can thank Ice Frog.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that because of our discussion last game.
Yeah.
But we're gonna see probably not too much action on this bottom lane. I spoke too soon. There is gonna be the stun coming out, and this time I'm just really surprised. I know it's nighttime, but I thought MJW had good vision of them walking up on him, and I guess he didn't.
You know, part of that comes down to the Savage Roar. Maybe he's not used to the nerf. Maybe he's used to having it up more frequently. It is basically an anti-gank protection. Throw the bear out between you and your opponents, and you Savage Roar out. A lot of Lone Druid players have gotten overly used to being pretty far forward because they feel like they're invincible, and it might take some time. Up top, Dazzle.
Oh, ice
really
shards. Yeah, the ice shards don't latch, but the Soku being shown that you don't really play around with the gyrocopter. Now, they did end up running this odd tri-lane that we were expecting. Not too much has happened, though. All the kills have been on EWolves, and I actually think, you know, you could snowball into a tombstone, into an ice shards to block them out. I'm a little bit surprised that the aggression is coming out from EWolves.
Yeah, I'm also a bit surprised about this, not only because of that, but also because it's nighttime, which helps Tusk tremendously. Getting within range of that snowball without being seen is a big part of a Tusk gank. There's going to be a potential reinitiation here. At least they dropped the tombstone, but don't have any follow-up, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just a tombstone in an attempt to zone, and instead Iwo is going to get a big old bounty there. So now...
M-God actually stole the last hit on that, but it certainly could have gone to Iwo, yeah.
And Mario and the Tusk both forced back to base. Tusk's actually going to play up a little bit trickily. It's incredibly not the way I was expecting the lane to go.
Yeah, this is, like you said, maybe a bit atypical. I don't really know that any lane is going the way, well, yeah, I feel like every lane is really going the way of EWolves right now. They are, but we have talked about this before. Right? They are a very strong early game laning team, just in terms of their mechanical skill and their awareness and their overall execution. Way 2's hanging out mid. Gwyn Pain is coming back. Are they going to be able to engage onto this Death Prophet with her ult up, though?
They'll probably wait, right? There's some perfect timing here. I imagine Van also will realize it's perfect timing to be ganked the moment his ult is down. But they might try to go for it in the last few seconds. The ice shards do come out. Van slightly blocked. Can he get in range of the snowball? No. And Van's ult is on cooldown, but unable to find the gank there.
And she took out a good chunk of this mid tower already at 7 minutes. That's precisely what you want your Death Prophet to be doing, especially when you have such a heavily push-oriented, mid-game-oriented draft that EWolves.
He actually opted to pick up the early Exorcism. It's not unheard of. It's actually, I'm trying to remember whether, I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but it often depends on how the lane is going, whether you think you can get the Exorcism on the tower, because the Exorcism did get changed a bit to be a little bit better. Oh, Van now poking back at Slicks. I don't think anything's gonna... Oh, I may have spoken too soon again. The Undying is nearby. Tombstone dropped onto the Dazzle. The silence comes out from Van. He levels that very early as well. And now the Snowball will be coming out. Iwo working on that Tombstone, realizing they need it down, but Gyrocopter's coming. The call down is coming, and Van with no Exorcism, they finally get a kill on Tusk, but the Sonic Wave rips right through them. Van still trying to use that Spirit Siphon, not enough, and Iwo, will he get the return kill on Snaking? Yes, he does, and Smash is here. He has his ult up. He doesn't look like he needs it, though. Oh, he's gonna use it, though. There's gonna be a rock throw. Well, when he has Vision of Mario, there's gonna be the little toss, Pearl Boulder, and they'll get themselves some Undying.
So some matchbook calculations show me that about a third of Death Prophets get their ultimate at level 6 in professional Dota, but all of the most popular builds have that level 6, and then there are a lot of slightly less popular in terms of their nuance, but there's many of them, build options that don't do that.
Yeah, and as you say, if only a third of them, when it's like the more popular build, get it at level 6, it's already showing that there's a lot of flexibility with what she can go. I'm pretty sure Van's one of the more unusual ones when we're looking at this, but again, You do what's needed in the game. Welcome to professional Dota.
Yeah, and once again, it's that mid-game strength. They want to apply pressure as early as they can. They're going to immediately, upon the cooldown coming off, they are ready for Van to push down the rest of this tower. Now daytime, which makes that roll in a bit more difficult for the Tuscan. They don't want to engage in this if they don't have to. You can see them fighting around the edges, trying to get in for the deny, but area denial from that Death Prophet ultimate, just too much for them. They're kind of squirreling about the edge, and they shouldn't be able to get in and get it.
EWO also really wanted to get involved here, wants to see if he can find a kill off the back of the Exorcism. Mario so low. Death Prophet spirits bring him down. And now in the top lane, Dazzle, full rocket barrage, has a TP away. Gonna go for it. Nice shallow grave.
Yeah. Gonna go home, heal up, think about what he's done. Denied the gyrocopter that farm, and got the gyrocopter to rotate all the way out of lane for a kill that he didn't get. Yeah, that's a pretty good trade for the Dazzle.
Oh, really well done there from the lineup of EWolves. They're starting to pull ahead. And they certainly have a lineup that could take advantage of this. As we talked about, Phantom Lancer, I think he's going... Oh, he just has an invis. So he's going to try to set up a kill on MGW. This is actually really funny. He's roaming. You'll see that he has a lot less CS than you'd expect of a Phantom Lancer from... You know, 10 minutes in, he has 26 CS, but he's right up there in net worth because he's murdering people.
Yeah, he got aggressive early, and he has not given up on that aggression, and he will not stop now. Behind the tower,
oh no!
in.
Okay, they're gonna get the kill still, but a little miscommunication there, I think, from whether they actually needed to swap the bear. Potentially, though, a swap to stop if the Savage Roar came out.
That's exactly what it was, right? They thought the Savage Roar was going to potentially be there to force everybody back, and they wanted to make sure that it would not give the space that the Lone Druid need. Another tower dropping here in the bottom lane for them as well. And this Lone Druid has his Midas pushed back a little bit farther. Now, this patch up until 6.86E has had faster average Midases for Lone Druids than almost any other patch, maybe any other patch in history, right? The Midases have been coming out of the off lane much faster. They can be more aggressive with the Savage Roar. With the Savage Roar changes that came out in 6.86E, you're talking about probably between 30 and 35% less access to creeps, at least safely. And we've been seeing the impact of that when we see Lone Druid since that change. These Midases have been coming out about 2 minutes slower on average, something like that, and we've been seeing a lot more deaths on Lone Druids.
It's also difficult. I think this game is a very interesting one because EWO went for the bots. Oh goodness, we have an engagement up in top lane. They've already dropped the tombstone. This should be taken out quickly though, and the primal split going to help them take out the gyrocopter. They're returning back for more, realizing they can't catch that blinking quap. But where is the gap closing? A nice ice shot's coming out from way two, stopping everyone.
EWO's coming in though. He wants blood.
Oh no, and he is on the sideline. Oh my goodness, you're right. He does find the exact way to he needs to, and now 1 second later he's gonna have the I don't know what the lance is called, and then he's gonna manage to doppelganger away.
Right out of there.
Yeah.
And look at this. He's 5-0-3 on a Phantom Lancer at 12 minutes. They've already knocked down 2 towers as well. This is going exactly the way EWolves want it to. 10-3, all things said and done. They are walking away with about 5,000 net worth lead at 12 minutes. That's a substantial lead for this stage in the game, and we are probably going to be seeing a push here in the top lane very shortly because the Death Prophet ultimate is up, and Van has been extremely active about making sure he's taking objectives with that. You can actually see him walking up there right now. He passes the mid lane, and he's ready to go.
Yeah, and also EWO is going to go back for the drums. He's going to completely fighting Phantom Lancer build. He'll probably get the defusal up in a little bit, but understanding that they have a peak now, picking up other items that'll help his team make sure they take those towers, take those engagements, and it's really cool. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, now, we did just see Power Friendship get out of the game where they had a lead similar to what EWolves are running right now, and they ended up having difficulty sealing the deal. There's also a team, EWolves, we know sometimes has difficulty with that high ground mechanic. So, by no means are Power Friendship out of this, but they are certainly giving a fairly ideal early game to their opponent.
Oh, Smash coming back in. There's a lot of TP rotations. The bear uses the Savage Roar, but it's still being hit by those Exorcism Spirits. 5 in a cooldown, but it's swapping, snaking under the tower. Now the bear also falling here. There is no resummon for 3 more seconds. Smash going in onto way 2. He doesn't have the primal split either. Mario drops the ult, but it's not gonna do too much here since it just amplifies damage and he goes down.
Yeah, there's not a lot that you can do with your Power of Friendship at this stage. They need more core items up. The Midas is up on the Spirit Bear, that helps, but it needs time to pay off, right? It needs some space as well for the Gyrocopter to get farmed. He's sitting on drums and Aquila, but compared to the Phantom Lancer, he's got nothing, right? The Phantom Lancer has full Boots of Travel, along with an Aquila and Bracer. So almost Boots of Travel on top of what the Gyrocopter has. And now he's going to have an Aegis as well.
Yeah, this is really nice play from EWolves, and 14 minutes in. If you don't make it to that 20-minute mark, you don't throw at it. Now they're TPing in, they're not able to save the tower. So at least something going the way of Power of Friendship, but EWolves, 7.5k net worth ahead, 4,000 experience. This is firmly in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, they do have the... excuse me, they do have the Brewmaster ult up as well.
We'll see if they get the kill on Mario before he can TP away. And that's the drums, right? He boosted up their attack speed.
So now he is officially an Aegis and a Boots of Travel ahead of the Gyrocopter, who has no place to go out and get farmed. They're being choked on vision. You can see the aggressive vision being placed here by EWolves, getting ready to push down this mid tier 2 tower and then rotate up top, grab another tier 2 tower. The vision that is existing for Power of Friendship, high pushing wards into their opponent's side lanes, but they just don't have enough map control to actually utilize those wards.
On the other hand, Power of Friendship, they're trying to get a little bit of a push out on their own, trying to make the best of a bad situation, you know? And Lone Druid, he's got some sizable money saved up. It's not, it's not going to be a false enough Radiance if EWolves keep pounding on the front door here. Exorcism is up in 1 second, and here it comes. They're going for it. Lone Druid may have gotten that bottom tower. Oh no, Staking swapped back into the Exorcism again. Sonic Wave comes out. He has no buyback. The Tombstone made quick work of, and we can see Mario now also going to be taking a lot of damage here. He is going down. Slicks, he should be able to find a way free from all of this, but does that have the silence out onto him? Hero getting very low. Slicks able to walk it off, but there is an exposed set of racks that is taking Exorcism damage. It's a level 2 Exorcism, but still, oh actually it might be a level 1 Exorcism, because she just hit 11. But it still does a lot of damage.
There were a lot of spirits floating around for level 1.
Yeah, and they do manage to get themselves the melee racks. They can take the ranged or just chip at it and come back for it later.
And they're going to take it. There's no reason not. They have an Aegis still on the Phantom Lancer. The Phantom Lancer is actually thinking about rotating through, decides better of it, but there's not a lot that can be done. A tower does end up going down. Lone Druid realizing there's not a lot that he can provide into that sort of an engagement. So he hung out down in the bottom lane, got a tier 1 tower, but a tier 1 for a full set of racks at 17 minutes. Really, that's the sort of trade that that's like magic beans for a cow, right? It's just not what you want to be coming home with.
Yeah, and now the lead for EWolves is over 10,000 net worth, over 4,000 experience. The saving grace for the lineup of Power of Friendship, of course, is that because they grouped up, EWolves getting a little bit less experience, but the map, losing all of those towers means that it is really hard for Power of Friendship to have any sort of map control.
And they're not anywhere near getting to the stage where they can assert map control. The Brewmaster ultimate is devastating at this stage in the game, especially from ahead. The Death Prophet ultimate also really difficult to deal with from this part of the game, even if you're running even with her, let alone from behind. She almost has her full Octarine up. She's not even going to go into a Cyclone Tap. Yeah, full Octarine is now up. She skips the Cyclone Tap. That just gives her so much survivability. I don't know what Power of Friendship can do. Last game when we saw Power of Friendship in this sort of similar situation where they were ahead, their opponents were behind, their opponents had a pretty good high ground defense team, and giving up the tier 2s leading into a high ground defense seemed to be a relatively reliable strategy. I just don't know if that's going to work here.
Yeah. Now the Exorcism does come out, and for Power of Friendship, they're so far behind. I don't know, as you said, if there's an option to fight under this. They have what? Cooldown? They have a Sonic Wave. They're going to drop the cooldown. It's going to completely miss. Everybody dodging it.
And while
that
it
was-
misses, Exorcism continues to chip the tower.
Yeah. Oh, they swap in
Ooh.
snaking again. The silence comes out of Masoko, and the Sonic Wave only hits on one. Slicks blinks in, trying to get some damage, but there is the Primal Split. Snaking buys back immediately. He's trying to fight, but he's blown up again. And that may just be the GG calls. Slicks gonna kind of stand and poke away at them, but this is certainly another set of racks, and there it is. After a long one, we get it back on schedule with a short one.
Yeah, EWolves may have had some trouble in the past breaking that high ground, but they did it like experts this time. Just straight up 100% objectives.
Very clean play from them, and very nice to see. Hopefully for Power of Friendship, I still think they played very well in the first series of the day, and it just seemed like this one a draft that EWolves loves to pick, and they did very well with it. Either way, folks, that's it for the WePlay for today. There is more again tomorrow. Be starting up on this channel in a while from now.